Alex, who should kick it off today? Do you wanna show us something fantastic, or shall I?
Well, usually I do, so maybe we should try to mix things up a little bit. If you uh, if you found something interesting,
Let's
you'd
do
like to
it.
share.
Let's do
Mm.
it. So my posts that I found on LinkedIn recently have been a little more sales focused. So
Mm.
let's take a look at those. So I just really enjoyed this post. Um, and it was all around a little bit of hacker news advice on selling. So I'll read it out.
Mm.
So yes, there's tons of resources, but I'll try to offer some tips. Sales is a lot like golf. You can make it so complicated as to be impossible, or you can simply walk up and hit the ball. I've been leading and building sales orgs for almost 20 years, and my advice is to walk up and hit the ball. Sales is about people, and it's about problem solving. It's not about solutions or technology or chemicals or lines of code or artichokes. It's about people and solving problems. 3, people buy 4 things, and 4 things only ever. Those 4 things are time, money, sex, and approval or peace of mind. If you're trying to sell something else other than those 4 things, you'll fail. 4, people buy aspirin always. They buy vitamins occasionally and at unpredictable times. Sell aspirin. I say in every talk I give, all things being equal, people buy from their friends. So make everything else equal and then go make a lot of friends. 6, being valuable and useful is all you ever need to do to sell things. Help people out, send interesting posts, write birthday cards, record videos sharing your ideas for growing their business, introduce people who benefit from knowing each other, and then get out of the way, expecting nothing in return. Do this consistently and authentically, and people will find ways to give you money, I promise. And 7, no one cares about your quota, your payroll, your OPEX, your burn rate. No one. They care about the problem you're solving for them. There's more than $100 trillion in the global economy just waiting for you to breathe it in. Good luck. So for me, this just it just like resonated massively when I was reading it, and I was like, man, this is some real talk here, some proper sales advice that I think a lot of people could benefit to read from. But keen before I sort of go maybe too much more. What sticks out for you there, Alex? What do you think? Think it's good? Think it's rubbish? Think it oversimplifies things?
No, I think it's probably it's a post that when you stumble upon it, it's you can very quickly end up in this rabbit hole about trying to super optimize everything, and you kind of lose the like the tree for just for like the forest for all the trees. So you know I like the post in that sense, and of course he's writing a lot of stuff. Were any of these that stood out to you, like individually?
So the last one made a lot of was a big one for me. So like it's
Mm.
about when you're so focused on achieving a goal, it's really hard sometimes to understand the steps you need to take and to stand in other people's shoes to actually achieve that goal. So, you know, everyone wants to achieve something, right? And that success, especially if you're in a startup or a growing company or an agency, a consultancy, you're trying to grow, you're trying to build a company. Maybe it's to raise your revenue so you can get a better valuation at the next fundraise. Maybe it's simply to pay payroll next month. Maybe it's to get some more cash in the bank so you can go buy your next car. Whatever it is, no one who's buying from you cares about it. And so you have to be really careful not to, a lot of people artificially push deadlines at the end of months and all that sort of stuff. Now, of course, getting people to, you can play sales tricks, right? Which you got to be very careful because most people can see the tricks that you play. But you can play sales tricks to try and get people to move, add a little bit of urgency into things. But fundamentally, people will move when the urgency is on their side and they feel like it solves their problem. And so you have to be able to um, to really put yourself in the shoes of someone else and not just say about doing something because you want it, but because it will work for them. And I think the majority of times I get sold to where people don't really think about this and they're constantly saying like, hey, like this is what we can do, this is how we'll do it, this is why it's going to be great. And I'm like, but you've not listened to like this is what I'm actually trying to solve. So like the way you've structured this doesn't make any sense for me. So that one like really stuck out for me.
Yeah.
What do you think? Was there anything that stuck out for you?
Yeah, probably he's I think this is a great post. because of the simplicity. Like it's just it's a reminder of something you already kind of know, and a lot of it is obvious, but it's an example of something that often happens to you when you are a very ambitious person, and like you try to solve hard problems, and sometimes you might get into a space, a mental space, or a period of time where you seem unable to move whatever you are working on, and like that could be sales. So you start, doing things that don't really yield anything, and you again like just so this kind of just brings it back to the basics. But the thing that stood out most was number 4. Just because I think it's a sentence I've said a million times myself. Like and I think I heard it the first time when I went to business school in Copenhagen, where one of my teachers in a class, like it's actually one of the few things I remember from business school. Not that it's rocket science, but one of my teachers once said, "You can be selling 2 things, either painkillers or vitamin pills." And if you are a sales leader, you can, of course, you can change your job, but often you will find yourself in whatever company, and you might be selling a vitamin pill, and then of course you want to position that as much as possible as a painkiller, but you can only do so much. But I think it's mostly probably for then, of course, entrepreneurs and founders to really think about, do something that will solve hard problems, like be a painkiller, not a vitamin pill. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, the other thing just generally here was just like, of course, like it's hard to sell a product that people don't want and that doesn't sell. Like you can only sell something that people want. And I saw I think it was Jordan Belfort who did a little like Oxford University talk or something like that, Cambridge University, and he was just reiterating the fact that, look, the whole like sell me this pen thing is about making sure that actually someone's in the market for a pen, right? No one's going to buy a market who doesn't want a pen. And I don't try to sell things to people who don't really want them. So number one, of course, you have to sell something to someone who actually needs it and wants it. But then beyond that, like people do like to buy from people they like. They buy from people they like and trust and sort of respect. And if people have 2 options of buying from like someone that they find a bit salesy and creepy and just doing it for their own gain versus someone who they think is actually acting for their own best interests, like people would choose the acting, the latter. And so just being a genuinely good person and sort of sharing and giving stuff out generally comes back to help. Cool. Let's move on. I think we've spent enough time talking about that one. Do you have one that you can show me?
I have. This will be very interesting. It will be. I've been looking forward to sharing this with you and see your reaction. Let's just get it up on the screen here. But this is a founder who apparently, I think you can say that he definitely fucked up. So this treaty I'll read out loud in a few seconds, but like it has actually been deleted, so I found it on the internet, of course. But it starts like this: I messed up. At our YC after party, we offered free tattoos and said we'd be happy to interview anyone who got one. But what I thought would be a fun, memorable way to meet people was in reality reckless, and instead came across as tying a permanent tattoo to job opportunity, which showed poor judgment.
What?
No participants chose their own tattoos and no one was asked to get our logo, I should have understood the pressure and lower dynamic and then power dynamic created by connecting tattoos to hiring. Regardless of said intent, turning a celebration of personalized art into a company stunt was poorly exercised judgment. We've taken the post down and have spoken to everyone who participated. We are also ready to cover associated removal cost with anyone facing any delayed regret. I'm sorry to the people we put in that position and to everybody who expected better from me. There's no clever explanation here. I got carried away and I was wrong. And then, the last one, for the facts, interviews were able to everyone regardless.
That is wild.
That's
That is so wild. This is like, they talk about like tech bro mania. Like this is one of those stories that's come out of that, right? There are so many things that come out of that for me. So yeah, number one, it's a pretty strange activity to offer up. So there's maybe some lack in judgment there. And like, I think I think number one, it speaks to it speaks to like the desperation of like the market and people to be like in the inside circle, right? So like there must be so many people who are just desperate to find a place, and like I guess depending on the company you end up in, like you potentially make it, right? You become super rich, all that sort of stuff. But like there's this desperation, especially if you're in San Francisco and like everyone's making $1 billion apparently, to like become one of those people and end up as a hire in a company that can end up like that. And so the fact that you'll like get a tattoo in order to do that, I think is wild. The second thing is,
if this is the sentiment right now in Silicon Valley or in San Francisco, it's wild, right? The market over
wild.
there. It's almost like this reminds me of the television series called Silicon Valley. Like this is just out of an episode of that
It's just like
show.
a meme from that,
Yeah. Or even like a a paternity party or fraternity party.
That is the other thing though. Is like it's difficult because in this situation, he's done something that was maybe poor judgment and put undue pressure on people who maybe are desperate to find jobs, etc. But everyone's an adult, right? There's nothing illegal here. It's potentially morally dubious or like a slightly poor choice of situation. But like everyone's at their own free will to get a tattoo of some sort if they want to, and if that means that they like get an interview or something, great. Again, probably a poor hiring technique as well, because it's a bit strange that like someone will just get a tattoo in order to get an interview. Like it's a bit bizarre, but like how much should we how much do we police the free market? To some degree.
Charlie, actually, if
There's loads of people.
If I can actually just share, like this guy, I have a follow up, but now I showed you the one where he was apologizing and it was taken down. I didn't know he also wrote another post, and I don't know which order they came out in, but I'm pretty sure that this one,
Well, this was 12:09, July 30th.
July. Okay, I can see it on. Yeah, maybe I can see it here. Okay. Well, I don't know if this is. I just imagine this was put up before, because he is not apologizing. So he said 7 people left our YC after party with permanent tattoos. We hosted a YC startup school after party at the Lemon Lime office to meet exceptional people and find out which of them are just as crazy as we are. That's why we brought an actual tattoo artist to our party and offered an instant interview to anyone who got a lemon lime tattoo. We are bold, we take risk, and we do things that haven't been done before. Commit is paramount prerequisites for building the future. If you're reaching out to us to apply for a job, you might want to take notes. But this was definitely put up before, don't you think?
Probably, yeah. Well, unless he took it down and then decided to go bullish. But like that is yeah, I get it. Like you're in that situation, you go along to this after party thinking, oh, this would be a great mixer, like maybe we'll meet people, whatever, and then suddenly like people are getting tattoos and you're like, I've got to do this if the like this is what you have to do to show you're committed. I get it. It's like it does put a lot of pressure on you, but it's just wild.
He's just one wild animal. Crazy son of a bitch.
But this was also, I wonder, who was it? Who was on Harry Stebbings' podcast like a little while ago? Who talked about the fact that like loads of his company got company tattoos. Do you remember that one? Like, there's one of the founders who were like, yeah, like most of our employees have got our company logo tattooed on there.
I think I
like we sleep in the office and all that stuff. Like, it is just this like praised culture, and there's a fair argument of like, is this almost cultish, right? Like, is there?
But of course you cannot do what he did. I'd love to have been at the party just to see
what's going on. Yeah,
exactly.
Fly on the wall.
But
it's
you can't really. It is true what he's writing himself here. That somebody probably whispered in his ears that the power dynamics at play here makes it something you don't really do.
Yeah, and there's probably also like, while there's always this really delicate balance, right, between like creating a culture that deliberately excludes certain people because you're trying to like attract the right kind of people to your company to create a group of people who are motivated in the same direction, but
Yeah.
also being, um, you know, like the flip side of that is not necessarily discriminatory from a legal standpoint, but like creating such a culture that also really disincentivizes certain people who'd add a lot of value to your business into your business, right? This delicate balance, right? Because you don't just want to scare away all people or some people of one demographic or anything like that. But at the same time, of course, you want, like, when you're hiring someone, you put out a profile that deliberately says this is who we are. People who like who we are should apply, and people who don't like who we are shouldn't apply because there's probably better roles for you. That's
Mm.
what you want for a job process. So it's a delicate balance where you're on that scale. This is probably the wrong end of the scale, but I can guarantee you as well that while I don't know all the stories, I'm sure that there are far more debaucherous things that have happened at like YC parties and all sorts of
Mm.
things that, like, this probably makes this look tame. So I guess it's
I,
only the
I,
ones that get out
I,
that actually make the news.
I also just think it's funny the way he's reacting online from two posts that have both been taken down. One where he's like owning it 100%, then he's
And the other way
apologizing,
is just like
but he's just taking it all down. Like, okay,
super
don't worry.
bullish, yeah.
All
But
right,
that's
but
there's just one more thing to add on that, which is like, again, just this concept of like, how much responsibility should we bear for people's decisions. Again, maybe it's the wrong side of it on this, in this one, but like, I don't know if you remember, there was a radio show a couple of years ago where I think it was maybe an Australian radio channel, maybe it was American, I'm not sure, but they basically put out like a joke competition where it was like, if you get our radio station
yeah,
tattooed
I
on your foot,
remember
yeah,
that. Yeah.
remember that? And someone
Mm.
did it, and then they were like suing them because they're like, I want my prize, and they were like, but it was a joke, like obviously we're not going to give you a prize. And again, it's kind of like, well, how much responsibility do you have to take for other for other people thinking about this kind of stuff? Why would it be a good decision to tattoo someone's radio station on your forehead? Maybe if you're like, not completely well, or whatever it might be. Like maybe it's difficult to interpret, what's going on. But anyway, wild. Let's see what else is there. So
Yeah. What else do you have in the back?
I've
Have
got a
you
little one.
seen anything else
I've
worth?
got a little one, which
Okay,
is
okay, okay. Very
which
interesting.
is just like a nice reminder about, again, not anything too wild, but it's from Adam Liska. Let's share it. So he's basically talking about, so Adam sort of, he founded Airspeed. He is talking about good outreach emails, and I think this is it's getting to be maybe a little bit like engineers. It's getting to be, something that you can, like, outreach emails is something you can execute at speed and en masse, but executing them well and doing enough research into them is still wins out in the market, right? Like, we have a lot more people sending a lot more emails, a lot more people building a lot more code, but doing it well and building the right thing and sending the right thing are still difficult. And I thought this was a pretty nice example. So, his the way he defined it was like, the the well, he did it for himself, but sorry, what was I going to say? Yeah, so there was a few like key reasons why this email was good, right? So, okay, firstly, the guy tried to get in touch. Great. Secondly, it was very, very bespoke, right? It was like, founders leave Wrexham Mercury for 4 reasons. Okay, so it was saying like, what is the actual framing that I need to know here, right? I need to, in my head straight away as a user, like, understand what the framing is. People know about Rex, people know about Mercury, and therefore, like, it's obvious to do it. Give me the 4 key things that hopefully at least one of them sort of ticks my list of saying, yeah, that's kind of been annoying. I've been thinking about that in the back of my mind. No fees, no contract, no paywalls. Great. Just like throw out all the sort of disqualifiers straight away, and then should we chat? I think there are like also probably better outreach emails, but it's a pretty nice example, and it just got me thinking quite a lot about, actually, what now in this day and age where people are even more overwhelmed with inbounds in their inbox, like, what actually makes a good outreach, and like, is cold email still alive and kicking? What do you think?
Could I just see who was it? Airspeed who
Yeah,
that
so
did
it's Adam from Airspeed who
what?
he posted this, but it was
Yeah, but
uh,
what did he post? Like, did he try it out also? So I tried it for.
he then sorry yeah, so he tried it for Airspeed as well.
Did he? But did he comment on his results or experience?
No, like it was just like an example post that he put online, so it's kind of saying, oh,
Ah,
like I've just tried it out on this post. So
okay, maybe it was just for social media mention, just like we are
I'm
discussing.
sure it was just another post, right? Just to be able to post some content, but still, they're the same
Yeah, no, but
substance applies.
it's a good question. Outbound email, outbound. My email is, I don't know how, I probably get 10 or 20 outbound emails per day, and you really get numb. You really get numb. And like I would say, 95% is probably AI generated in one form or the other. And it's extremely evident or visible just from the formatting, and I hate it. Like, I don't know if I'm like everybody else, but like if you're a company CEO, you get a lot of outbound. If you get less outbound, I don't know if it's different, but I really have a filter,
I get a lot out of them.
just the formatting. Like if I just skim the formatting, if anything seems like it is AI generated and I can spot it right away just from formatting, I don't even read it.
Hmm.
So to get through my filter, you need to create formatting that looks like it was a human who wrote it. And then, the human can have been like writing it without any personalization or anything like that. And then that's kind of the next gate to get through. And then there's, of course, a gate like, is this interesting to me? Sometimes if it's not interesting, but I feel like somebody made a big effort to contact me, I might reply, hey, this is not interesting. But then it needs to have gone through quite a lot of gates. I really like. I've actually not seen this kind of I haven't seen that post or that type of outreach, but I really liked it. I actually think it could be funny to test it out, because I always apply my own mental filter. So how do I think I would react if I got this
Hmm.
this type of email? And I think I would actually be very prone to responding if one of the 4 points worked. And I also like the fact that it was just, let's just get to the basics. Like, here are 4 points. But it was also so confident, and that's why it came across quite strongly, at least to me, that it's just like people leave these companies, so you're almost implicitly positioning yourself as being a much better product than some other very well established products. Of course, this will not work on anybody, but
But I
definitely.
think that's exactly it, because like there have been a number of times recently where I've been in a position where I've been pitched a product or a service, and the existing product or service that I use is pretty good, like it's working pretty well. And I've almost given people the opportunity to say, well, why would I switch off this product or service? Like, why do I need to? And people sometimes struggle with an answer. Oh, well, maybe a bit different here and a bit different there and whatever it might be. And I'm kind of like, well, you need to really nail that, right? Especially when you're trying to pull someone away from an existing incumbent or sort of competitor, you need to nail that positioning of like, but why are you different? And if you're not, then you need to go back and rethink, like, actually, if your main strategy is winning the market from incumbents, then you have to differentiate in some way. And that doesn't have to necessarily even be that it's a specific feature or pricing, whatever it might be. It might also be that the journey you're on is just clearly so much like on such a better track record or sort of journey than your competitors, right? If you're iterating and building at 3 times the speed, and you can show people, well, look where we were, look where we are, and in 3 months' time you're going to be in a far better position. It's like a no risk move today, or reasonably risk free, than jump on it. It's like you're going to benefit a lot. So yeah, I think it's a good strategy for all those people out there sending cold emails. Think about what you're putting in. Don't just mass send them, because I've received a lot of emails telling me about products that are completely not relevant to my business.
Yeah, yeah, sales works very. You can have different different styles of outreach, and they will have different effects dependent on the personality type of the person you're communicating to, right? I think what you and me, we have also offline, been, we are also nerding and discussing sales strategies very often. And we have also discussed this kind of concept about power dynamic, and kind of confidence. Like there's a lot of signals when you communicate, and at least I'm actually quite prone to try to test out this format, this style, in some future stuff we do, simply due to how well I think it performed on the power dynamic scale. Um, and maybe it's just me, but I just react very badly whenever somebody, it's too, when I can read from all the implicit signals they are sending that they are kind of inferior. Like I want to see them, behave like, you only behave a certain way if you have something that, if you have the traction, the performance, the results, the product.
Something that's sought after, right? Like
Exactly, but like you need to have. Most people only behave that way, that the emails, all the signals that is coming from the email, if they have a superior product, then you can of course be bullshitting, or you can be, yeah.
and
But
it's natural to it's natural to follow the crowd, like to follow shit. And so if other people are doing this, then should I be doing it? And it's also natural, like we're trained and inbuilt to like have a certain amount of desire to pursue scarcity. And so if it's actually my product that is like sought after and it's like scarce and you need to come and like take my product, rather than it being your time or your money that's scarce that I have to chase after, that is kind of like appealing to the hardwired nature of our brain to chase that scarcity and saying, oh, I don't need it. Like there's, I've got other people. So, if you don't want to come by, then fair enough. I think the difficulty in doing it is always executing it well, right? Because most people, or a lot of people, are too overt and too blatant with that, and it becomes a sales tactic, a sales trick. If you can really be confident and internalize, that sort of scarcity, that approach, then it starts to become much more of a natural conversation. You can have confidence in how you deliver it. So,
but the funny thing is, and like we probably need to end now, but
yeah,
because we also need to do proper work now, actual work, than just sitting and chatting. But it just reminded me of, like, again, we are tiny details, small thing, but if you put up I don't know, you don't need to put it up again, but am I correct that the start letter in the subject line was not capital, it was a small letter, so he didn't use.
I'll show you right.
I cannot see. I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, here.
Why
That.
companies move to right?
Yeah. Why companies move? So
Can you see
that's
it?
yeah. So it's the subject line. Is that the subject line? Yeah, it is, right. Why companies move to R.
This one is, yeah.
Yeah.
RHO, yeah, row. Yeah.
What I'm trying to get at here is that I think that the guy who made this email and put a lot of thought into it, that's another kind of signal thing. You are so busy, like you even forgot to put in a capital letter in the first, because the one you're communicating to, they should just, they are not that important to you. You have so much business, you have so many things going on. It's so interesting when you actually nerd out the small details of that email. And I'm not saying that, if you just use this format, then like you will be selling, you will be 10xing your sales or something like that. But it could be very interesting to test out,
It's
because
all
I'm
it's
quite
all
into.
it's all the details.
Yeah.
And I'll say one thing to that as well, which is I've been receiving a lot of email, or a few emails recently from certain people with one word subjects, and it's sometimes lowercase as well. And to be honest, that really makes me intrigued. Like
Yeah.
so getting someone to open an email is then different from getting someone to convert from email. So like it's great. You have to get to the point of opening an email where someone doesn't feel misled then in carrying on as well. But let's leave it there, because I think we can continue this next week, and we'll cover it in a lot more detail. I will thank all our viewers for joining us again, and look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Did You See This? Have a great week.